All right, what's up, everyone? This is Shawn White. I'm your host of the Money Down Pod. I got Kayvon over here with me, ready to go.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. I'm
All right,
excited.
so we're kind of a new podcast. Going to start it up here. We're going to do 3 times a week. Monday's going to be the reaction show. Thursday, we're going to lead into college football, a little NFL talk here and there. Friday's going to be all about the NFL going into it. So, you excited to get this going?
Yeah, man, no doubt. I can't wait for it. I'll shout out our Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Money Down Pod. Very simple, Money Down Pod. Give us a follow. Once we start to get a big growing, we're going to ask you guys to send us tweets and stuff that you want us to talk about. And so start to follow that train now. Be one of the first ones to hop on board.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get some fantasy football talk in there too. We'd love to help you out with your lineup, stuff like
Yeah.
that. That'll be something good to talk about. But like I said, we just gotta get it going, get it growing. So
No doubt, man. Let's have some fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I guess the big NFL news today, Deshaun, probably. Yeah.
So this is my question for you, man, right off the bat here. Okay. And this is, we'll get into Deshaun real quick. I want to focus on Miami because first question, would you say that Miami is, if not the top team, one of the top teams going after him?
Oh, I think they're the team going after him. Yeah,
team.
they have
Okay.
yeah.
Agreed. So with that being said, I want to shift this to Tua, man. I was thinking about this the other day. Can you ever remember a quarterback only 2 years in to his career where the whole time since the day they drafted him, they've kind of been against him? Like I've never seen an organization that has been so publicly not backing Tua, their rookie, like Miami is, dude, from the start. Like, I feel like they realized right away they shouldn't have taken him. They should have taken Herbert. And since then, dude, they have just been like, they're out about it. Like, they're open about it.
Yeah, I honestly kind of look at it organizationally. I believe when they drafted him, they were going to sit him the year. I mean, you heard the rumors maybe that the owner saw Herbert out there and maybe threw him out there. I thought they might sit him the whole year, and that kind of screwed him over because they really, really loved Fitzpatrick last year. Yeah. That kept him in the playoff hunt. I think throwing him out there really did mess up the vibe on it. And I don't know. It's a weird situation, and I don't think Tua's ever been able to gain that ground back to being that guy now, especially with Herbert taking off the way he has, is not even a comparison at this point.
It's not. And I think the point you make is so spot on, man. I think that they saw how damn good Burrow was. They saw, and they couldn't have taken Burrow, but still, they're always going to compare. And then how good Herbert is, which they could have taken Herbert. And I think the owner forced them in there. Or I think just the public, the fans, everything, seeing what Herbert did, everyone's sitting there, well, what's our rookie like? We got to see our rookie. They forced him in there. They ruined it. I mean, look, I always thought Tua had talent, but I was always worried about his injury history. And just there was always something about him that was made me a little cautious. Dude, they're in a big predicament now where I think the owner makes them make this trade for Deshaun.
Well, if I'm being honest, I think they made the trade for him in the offseason. I think all the Deshaun stuff is what killed him on it because they just couldn't make the trade with all the information coming out. It was just too much going on. But they've got to make the trade now because they just are killing Tua each week. Like he can't remain the quarterback there. And honestly, he didn't play all that bad last week. I'm a Jags fan. Like I'll throw that out there. So I watch bad football each week. But I watched Tua real close last week, and he didn't play horrible. I mean, our defense isn't all that great, but he didn't play horrible. And they just they can't win games with him at this point. Deshaun will definitely elevate him if he's able to play and get back to his normal level, which I assume he will as long as he's cleared legally and everything.
No doubt. And so I think you're right. I think if there's not a doubt that they make a trade, and if they don't make the trade, they were going to be forced to make the trade because the Panthers or someone were going to make that trade if Deshaun didn't have any of this legal stuff. Deshaun would be playing for the Panthers or someone, and they would have forced Miami to make that trade. So I think you're spot on, dude. But what's interesting with Tua is, and we all look at Tua because he's the rookie, and because he's the quarterback, and that's how we go about it. Really, dude, they've just done a bad job drafting with that team. Think about all the draft picks they had. Their O-line is terrible. They have no run game, man. they throw to Jalen Waddle on a 2-yard route, and that's it. I mean, they do not throw him more than 2 yards, it feels like. I just feel like they don't have a good team around them, and we're obviously going to blame it on Tua, and he hasn't played amazing. He's been hurt. We can't really judge his play, but they just haven't done a good job with all the picks they've had.
Yeah, that Waddle thing's though, he's a hit. He throws that 2 yards, he makes something happen out of it. But
No,
those O linemen, I watched Eichenberg get destroyed constantly, like all game long. And then Austin Jackson's already kicked inside, so that's rough right there. And then their corner that they drafted in the first round with the name that's very hard for me to say, but he was just active for the first time this week against the Jags, and Marvin Jones, I think, had a field day on him. So that was a rough first round in general. They did with that one. Like it's some rough drafting going on there. So they're definitely going to be trading a lot of picks to keep their jobs here. But Deshaun can elevate all that. To be honest, he's been doing it in Houston forever, and Waddle's going to be getting sent on some flies at that point. But
it's so true. And honestly, dude, he's been doing it in Houston. He's going to have a better coach. Like, I know Flores is taking a hit. Flores is still a damn good coach. If he gets fired, he will get swept up from the open market in a heartbeat. Like, he is a good coach. I don't think Flores is the issue. I think the drafting is the issue and everything that's happened along there. So let me ask you this. What's it going to take to get him for Miami? We'll go into the other team. What is it going to take for Miami to get him? Because without the legal issues, what do you think it would have taken?
Without
it. Like 3 first?
I was gonna say 4 first, 2 seconds.
Ooh, yeah, like easily, right?
3 first, 2 seconds a player, some combo
easily.
of that.
And like, Tua would have been it. So it would have been technically 5 first because that 2 was a first round pick. So now with the legal issues, can they get 2 first for him?
The thing with the Dolphins is they don't have their actual first. They have
the
San
49ers.
Yeah.
So, and freaking Philly, man. Freaking Philly's going to have like 4 top 10 picks with the way it's going right now. It's 3, I think, but that's just insane.
This is something for another pod, but if the Colts keep losing, I sit Wentz.
For sure they're sitting him. They're sitting him. But I know you're a Jags fan, so I think the Colts are getting something going. Wentz has actually looked good this year. You know, I'm a Wentz believer. I think Wentz is a great player. I just think he got shafted by Philly. And we can get into this another time, but I do think that Indy might get that going there. But with this happening now with the legal stuff, I don't know what they can get, which brings us into other teams. If Miami doesn't pull the move, which we both are standing here saying they've got to, but for some reason, if they didn't, who else is in the mix? Like, who do you think should be in the mix?
Well, I think Philly should be in the mix, but I don't think Deshaun's going to go there. That's the issue, is that no trade. I don't know if he's going to go there. I know he wants Miami because I think he's close with Flores, and I think he's cool with Greer.
Yeah,
like as the GM, and I mean Miami's Miami. Good God, I mean who wouldn't want to live there?
So true. You can't. That's your sell right there. But the Miami.
I know. God, Tepper is so aggressive.
Oh my God!
They might still throw the 4 first at him, like, and that's them. But again, would Deshaun go there? He played at Clemson, so he'd be close.
I think he would go to the Panthers.
I think he'd be good. He'd be like 2 hours away. So I could see that happening. The Panthers, I would love and doing all that with the contract, especially not this year. So they're trying to offload him by the trade dead. I think it's got to be either the Panthers, it's got to be the Dolphins. I think it's those two.
Yeah, I agree. And the interesting thing with the Panthers, you heard Matt Rule come out today actually and say, Sam's our guy. He's going to be there for a while. That's coach talk. But I think they have to. I think they know Sam Darnold's pretty fragile. Like they have to be careful because they're still trying to make the playoffs this season. If they don't get Watson, they can't have things just jump off the rail with Sam Darnold. So it's interesting how Carolina. But you're right. If David Tepper has his way, I will hate this because I'm a Falcons fan. But Deshaun Watson will be a Panther. And dude, I think he makes that team. I mean, I don't think they would beat the Bucs or anything, but I think they're a double-digit win team with Deshaun Watson, man.
I think next year you look at them as a legitimate contender after they add maybe 1 or 2 more auxiliary pieces, maybe an old lineman, maybe one more weapon or something. Like their defense pretty good. Like they're just on the field a lot right now these last few weeks. They're pretty good still.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was Deshaun, if we're talking strictly football, I'd want to go to the Panthers over the Dolphins.
Oh, for sure.
Dolphins really have Waddle, and I mean, people are talking about them offloading Xavier Howard like in a week or two. So we'll see if that even happens. But Xavier Howard's miles above Byron Jones. Byron Jones makes more than him. So
Yeah.
like I said, it's a weird situation down in Miami.
Terrible situation. It all goes back to the first point of they have botched their drafting, man. It's kind of like the Raiders, even though I think the Raiders have done better at draft. The Raiders and the Dolphins had so many picks, and all of those picks have majority of them have flamed out, but the Dolphins have they've hurt it. So let me ask you this though. Washington. I don't know if Deshaun will go there, like you said with Philly. And if I'm Deshaun, I don't know if I would want to go to Philly either, to be honest with you. But Washington would have me interested if I'm Deshaun. And this is why. I know their defense is awful to start this year, but you can't debate talent. They still have amazing talent on that defense. They just, for some reason, it's just not getting going, but it can get going. They're going to waste that defensive talent if they don't get a QB in their ASAP. And you cannot tell me Heineke is the guy. He is not the guy. Fitzpatrick is not the guy. I think Washington should be a lot more interesting than a lot of people are talking about. The problem is I don't know what they have to offer. What are your thoughts on Washington?
Washington would be a good spot for him, especially offensively. That O-line's good. Gibb in the background is a stud.
No doubt.
McKissick's actually not a bad backup. Scary Terry can ball. Curtis Samuel can ball. Like Logan Thomas can play. They have the weapons and pieces, and the defense is really it's their back end that's killing them. To be honest, their front four is fine, but if they don't get pressure like right there, that back end's giving it up immediately.
Yeah.
So that's a good spot, like football wise. But my God, I don't know if I could go play for Dan Snyder, and I damn sure don't think Deshaun's could go play for Dan Snyder.
That's a good point. I would hate that. I don't even know how he's still an owner. That's a whole different subject for another day.
I'm sorry. You're actually making a good point that I wanted to bring up. You were talking about the Raiders and the Dolphins similarity. You know what the difference in them two are? Derek Carr carrying them through. That's all it is. That's why Tua ain't the guy, because Derek Carr's carrying them.
It's a phenomenal point. And Derek Carr he doesn't even get the just that he deserves, man.
Oh, no.
He is a good quarterback, dude, and he is carrying they don't have a good O-line. Their defense isn't good. Henry Ruggs is he's a speedster. He'll make one great play every other game, it feels like. He's so frustrating in fantasy. But think about it, man. They could have had CeeDee Lamb. Like, I agree. Derek Carr is the one difference, and he's also durable. He's out there all the time.
Yeah, and he's doing all the play calls, changes at the line. I mean, that's something Tua that could develop. I know all the Tua fans are like, oh, you're just killing Tua. Well, I mean, Tua could develop that really, but I mean, at this point, you gotta start developing it pretty quick, because they had the whole playbook rumors. He wasn't understanding the playbooks, everything. So
which is really surprising to me, man. Like, from what we would hear at Alabama, and I know Nick Saban talks all this up, but you would hear at Alabama that this dude's a genius. He's a really smart guy. Like, the things that worried me about Tua wasn't that. It was just about his durability. And also, I was honestly worried just about his play sometimes. I just don't feel like he's that great of a passer all the time. But I don't know, man. Do you think Tua's career is like?
I think Tua's probably going to go somewhere. I don't really know where, but there's probably about to be about 8 different teams needing quarterbacks in the offseason, and there are not enough in the draft for them.
No.
Just not. And it's going to be on the open market. It's Jimmy G, Tua, maybe Jared Goff. Like, good luck.
Yeah.
Maybe Daniel Jones. That's an iffy one, too.
Yeah.
We can get into a different point.
Daniel Jones actually has been playing decent this season until last game. He was awful last game. My goodness, that was terrible. Joe Judge, but this is another conversation. He's the heat is coming up on his neck really quick.
I don't know how Gettleman's still around.
Gettleman, he's got some info on the owner or something, man. I mean, it's shocking to me that he's still around. Okay, so we both agree Miami is probably where it's going to happen. We don't even know if Deshaun can play though this year. Like, that's the whole iffy part about it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's going to happen because of these owners. Because Stephen Ross is looking at David Tepper, and he's saying, I know this guy. I know what he's going to do, and he's going to pull the trigger if we don't. So Greer, pull the damn trigger.
Yeah. That's what it is. Tepper's going to send every pick they have after him, essentially. Yeah. And Tepper's a hedge fund guy, man. They're all kind of like that. They don't really abide by the law as much as they need to anyway. They don't really care as much. They'll say they care about Deshaun, stuff like that, but they don't really care all that much about it.
All he cares about is that he has a quarterback moving forward.
Yeah.
That's it.
A top 10 one at that, probably top 8.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dude, last year he was amazing.
He was top 5 last year, and I hate the Texans. So
yeah, Deshaun's incredible, man. I would. He's a very unique QB that doesn't come around often. All right. What else in the NFL? Anything else on the Deshaun things that you want to mention?
No, I think we're good on that. I mean, until the trade actually happens, we can break down what the picks and all the swaps were and everything, where he actually went. 2
weeks from now, right? It has to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen before too. It'd be cool if it happened tomorrow, but we'll see.
That would be great.
Yeah, but NFL wise, I think we're good until we start previewing games tomorrow. I don't think there's any other huge stories on the docket or nothing like that. I think we're good on that. If you want to. Like I said, I was going to cover some fantasy football stuff, but tonight's game's so much of a dud. It's almost like you got to start like Landry and your wide receivers, and
and I know people aren't going to hear this today, but the wind is like 17 miles per hour. I would be very careful starting anyone in this game other than your running backs and stuff like that, and maybe
Cleveland's on their third.
Yeah, right. Cleveland, and that's something we have to get into on the show with Cleveland and Baker and all that stuff. But again, that maybe we can talk about tomorrow, depending on how this game goes. Tomorrow.
Yep. And so I guess we'll transition into some college football for the weekend. So that'll be good because I know we're both huge college fans.
Love college football.
So just some like details to hammer out for it, I guess. So I actually don't have a college football team. I'm a massive Jags fan, but I'm also like a armchair scout, if you want to call it. Like I'll literally sit down and like break down any all 22 I can get my hands on. I'll break down like YouTube highlights and stuff and rewind it. Like I'm a junkie when it comes to prospects. Like I love the NFL draft.
You do.
So I watch college football for essentially draft talk. And Kayvon, I know you gamble a lot on it, so that's where your watching comes in on it. But I was just going to give that out. So we have no alliance whatsoever on any of these college football teams.
No. Sean's right. This is strictly just us being massive, massive football fans. We're huge NFL fans, which leads us into college football because we love to see what talent is coming in. I love betting on college football. Shawn definitely does more scouting than me, but I will definitely do my fair share of that as well. This is honestly, you're going to get true just objectivity from us. Like we're going to be super objective about everything we talk about here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we don't have no SEC bias out there. I know they're still the best conference, don't get me wrong, but we're not going to sit here and just hammer it home and just overrate some of the teams at the bottom. I'm not going to sit there and talk about how great Mississippi State is.
That's so funny. That was coming to my mind too.
but no. So, how do you want to start with the breakdown? Do you want to talk prospect talk, or you want to talk the games coming up this weekend? Because I know we just had a conference realignment that you wanted to bring up, so we can talk about that for sure.
Yeah, you want to get into that first?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right, so I actually do want to talk about this. I find the conference realignment fascinating. Like this is stuff that I love about college football. So what do we know? We know Oklahoma and Texas are going to the SEC, right? We know, what is it? BYU, Houston, Cincinnati. One other team is going to UCF is going to the Big 12. Okay, so we know that. Now it comes that we find out that a bunch of teams are going to the American, and I'm going to pull up the exact list here in a second. But what fascinates me about this is the teams that they took, man. Look, the American could have gone a route where they went after programs that have shown they have good college football programs. They have very strong fan bases. But instead, dude, they went after teams, and frankly, to say that are kind of new to football. Yeah. Most of them are newer. They don't have a huge fan base yet. They went after big city teams that they hope that they could develop into a big program. Like, think about it, man. Marshall, Marshall's a good program. Like, they're not great all the time, or they could have even gone into the Sun Belt and looked at a Coastal Carolina and App, stuff like that. Instead, they went after FAU and Charlotte and Rice and these type of schools. I just find that really interesting. I know they're standing to what they do. They like these big city schools. I just find it kind of weird how they went about it.
Yeah. So Charlotte is actually a good choice in my opinion.
I agree.
think they're gonna definitely develop. They definitely caught them on the upswing.
He is a good coach, man.
Yeah.
He is an up and coming coach. I like what they're doing. So no, I fully agree about Charlotte.
And that's a little insider stuff. You went there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then my sister-in-law actually goes there, her boyfriend as well. So we've been there several times. They've like upgraded that whole campus. They've really tried to get a lot more students in. They're like on the up and come. So the football team's kind of pressing with them. So they kind of bought that stock low, and that's going to go to the moon. That's like
so that's the one. So I'm spot on. That is the one school when I looked in here, I said, I love that. I love that. And look, UAB, they're decent. UTSA is awesome this year. I mean, I watched some Conference USA because I went to Charlotte. UTSA, they're undefeated. They beat Illinois. I know Illinois. I mean, they're actually a decent team this year. They're fun to watch. But Charlotte was the one team that I said, that makes sense because of what you said. If you go look at the campus, it's all brand new. The football stadium's new. The team's new. Will Healy is a young and up-and-coming coach. That is a good choice. But why not go after some also proven programs like a Marshall? Marshall's in Conference USA.
Yeah, I would have went after them in Coastal. Coastal, like, it's consistently good. They're not like top 20 ranked like they are now good, but they're consistently good year in, year out. And I mean, App State's, even with all the big colleges in North Carolina, App State's one of the top freaking football schools there is in North Carolina. So
easily, man. App State is known nationally. I mean, people know who App State is, and it's some people will say they're the best school in North Carolina at times.
Oh yeah, I hear that argument a lot.
It's sad to say for the state and UNC people, but it's true, man. So I get it. They wanted to go to big cities, and they're like you said, they're buying stock in schools like Charlotte. I just think that they kind of could have done better in terms of going after established programs.
Yeah, after football schools for sure. They're definitely buying low, selling high kind of thing. Well, not selling, but just trying to take it to the moon on that. Like I said, it's a strange thing. I would have more liked to balance it. Maybe take Charlotte. Maybe some people like FAU. FAU actually does good in some ways, so maybe take them too. Maybe then take maybe a Marshall, take a Coastal, something like that.
The balance would it would have been perfect to go that route, but because I know what they're expecting. What they're thinking is, okay, these, first of all, even though it's American, it's still a much bigger money pool. The TV deal's better, all that stuff. So they're going to have more money for these programs to put into, and they're hoping that will build these programs up. What about this? So what about Conference USA now, man? Like, does it just go to dirt? I mean, like, it might be done.
Yeah, it might be. The Big 12 might be done in the next few years. So
it really might be, dude.
All they have to do is have Oklahoma State and Baylor leave, and they're at TCU. Those three.
Oh man, if Oklahoma State and Baylor leaves, I mean, that's
Iowa State would go immediately to the Big Ten. But
yeah, no doubt, and the Big Ten would accept them because they're actually a decent program for both basketball. I mean, they're not great, but for basketball and football, they're relevant.
When they were talking realignment and everything, when Oklahoma and Texas did their announcement, if I was Oklahoma State, wouldn't you go try to dominate the Pac-12 immediately?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, it's a toss-up between them and Oregon. So they'd be top two immediately.
I completely agree, man. And they could go undefeated in that. They could be in the playoff picture just for that. And dude, Mike Gundy is salty. When he beat Texas, that was huge for him last week because he's salty that he didn't get invited to this SEC thing. He's got a good team year round. I'm totally with you. I would go straight to the Pac-12 if I was them. But dude, the Pac-12 said we're not bringing anyone. They decided not to do it.
I mean, the Pac-12 confuses me. I mean, do they even want to play football half the time?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do they? They have the new commissioner, so maybe he wants to play some football, but he
needs to change things up, man, because that program is dead right. I mean, that conference is dead right now. They should be dominating the West Coast out. USC should be a powerhouse school. It is pathetic that USC is not good. It's USC, dude. Oh my goodness.
I mean, you throw a rock and you hit a top 100 recruit out there, like
Easily.
anywhere in LA, and they don't even get them. They all go
Yeah.
to Clemson and Bama. Clemson and Bama, for anyone who hasn't been, that's small towns. Like
Yes.
if you live in LA, that's a big difference. And they
Very.
all go out there to play football.
Very. They don't
I
care,
mean,
man. They're willing to move to those small towns just for the football program. Used to be super hyped to stay in a big city like LA when Pete Carroll was there, but not anymore. Speaking of USC, I want to hit this real quick and then we can move on. We got anything else about the conference?
no, we're good on conference. I think we covered that.
Okay, yeah. So USC, I'm hearing a lot about James Franklin going there. I'm hearing that he's actually very interested in going there. I don't know if that's true or not, but you're hearing those rumors. Do you think he actually leaves Penn State for USC?
If Penn State beats Ohio State next week, I think he stays.
I think he would have to.
Yeah. But or if they make the playoff, then he's definitely staying.
Yeah.
But again, is he capped out at Penn State? Maybe a little. Like
great.
You're dealing with Ohio State every year. If you go to USC and get your recruiting class rolling, you're going to blow Oregon away at some point. Like you just got to match recruits with Oregon. And plus you're only playing that one team every year. I know Ohio State is the big dog, but you also still got to deal with Michigan State, Michigan some years. You still got to deal with that schedule. I mean, you're playing a bunch of Arizonas out there in Pac-12, Utahs, Oregon State's out there dominating the conference right now.
Come on, Pac-12.
Washington State just fired their coach because he wouldn't get vaxxed up. So
man. It's a mess out there.
Yeah.
Look, USC is the one school, you said it perfect. He could go there and in a year. It's not like you could go there and because of the transfer portal, because of the recruits right there, you can turn that program around in a year. I mean, literally, you could be a top program within a year at USC. And the best thing that you said is it capped out at Penn State? Because eventually you get to that point at a school like Penn State where if you're not going to beat Ohio State and you're not going to make the playoffs, but you're still going to be in that 1-2 loss every year, that's great. That's amazing. But eventually they're going to say, okay, what's next, right? And you don't want to be in that position. I think it's fascinating, man. I think it's fascinating. And I think this would be my prediction right here. If he does leave for USC, Luke Fickell will 1,000% go to Penn State because he has already said he doesn't want to leave the Midwest. He said he loves staying near that area. Penn State is somewhat close to that area. He said he doesn't want to relocate his family too far. Luke Fickell will 1,000% be the next Penn State coach if James Franklin actually left.
I actually think this is the year that Luke Fickell does need to go to a bigger job because
after he
after he loses the playoff probably. But
no, I was gonna say after he loses all that talent.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, I could tell.
Prospect wise, like Sauce Gardner out there, cornerback, and his defensive ends. Ritter's gonna be gone. I'm not a big Ritter guy, but Ritter will be gone too. He's gonna lose so many players that he's gonna be at the apex that he's gonna be at Cincinnati for him to go take a big job.
Which goes right to your point of being capped out. And that's the one thing, when you're at a school like Cincinnati or like Charlotte eventually, and I'm not saying Charlotte's on Cincinnati's level, these coaches have to know when they've hit their point and they've got to move on. And you're right, man. Luke Fickell, that's a really great point about that. But yeah, that's all I really wanted to talk about with that. I mean, I think the conference realignment's fascinating. I think the next 5-10 years in college football, dude, is going to be really interesting with how things go.
Yeah, especially with the playoff. And I figured we'd talk about some of our playoff picks right now mid-season since we didn't get to do the beginning since we started up a little bit late.
Yeah,
but
so down.
Better late than never. So you got a 4 that you're kind of favoring right now. And I wanted to throw a curveball at you after we talk about the 4 of some random scenarios that would be kind of crazy.
Okay, I love that. So the 4 right now, let me pull up what I had here. The 4 that I would have in is obviously 1 is Georgia. I mean, look, Georgia's in. With Caleb Williams now starting, I would put Oklahoma at 2. I would. I think just because of their talent, I think Oklahoma deserves to be number 2. I would put Ohio State at 3, and I would put Cincinnati at 4. I would have Cincinnati in. I do think Cincinnati is doing enough barely to get in. Now, they have to demolish every other opponent going forward, including SMU and all that stuff. But I do think if you're ever going to finally get a Power 5 in or out of Power 5 in, it's got to be if Cincinnati doesn't get in this year by doing what they're doing, a group of 5 will never get in. And that sends zero hope if the playoffs not going to be expanded. So I think that would be my 4 right now.
Yeah, with Cincinnati, I think if they went out, they're definitely in. They're 2 right now. I don't see them dropping them.
I agree.
At that point. They had them high enough in the preseason rankings that I believe, and they beat Notre Dame, so they're all good.
Yeah.
Number 1,
and it
Georgia.
was in Notre Dame.
Yeah. Number 1 was Georgia. They're going to make it, even if they lose to Bama in a championship game or something like that. They're in. That's where you get all weird talking about maybe Bama coming back and getting in as well. That'd be the 1-loss SEC teams in there because you can't leave one out at that point.
No.
So that's where it gets real interesting because I think Oklahoma's going to run the table now too. So I think they're going to be in.
Okay.
Because they're not going to leave them off.
No.
So,
well, dude, even if Oklahoma's an interesting spot too because say Oklahoma was to lose to Oklahoma State, but then they ended up regaining that win against Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship. How would a 1-loss you beat an undefeated Oklahoma State team in the Big 12 championship? I think they would have to put them in that way in as well, right?
See, that's some of the stuff that I'm wondering about here because I'm telling you, if for some reason Georgia was to lose to Bama
Bama's in.
Bama's in. Georgia's in too.
Yeah,
they're not leaving them both off.
No, you're right.
They're gonna be on the opposite side. It's not gonna be some 1-4 thing. It's gonna be that one's the 1, one's the 3, or one's the 2. And that's where Oklahoma is going to have to kind of win out here because I don't see them putting them in. Maybe they'll put them in over Cincinnati, but that would be a huge uproar by all the people. You can't leave off the undefeated team, even though they're like non-Power 5. And then, like I said, this is what I'm interested to watch these next few weeks. Me and you talked about it because, like I said, we've been talking sports forever before we started doing this pod. We talked about Ohio State earlier in the year with their defense not stopping anyone.
Yeah.
We also saw Stroud, who's throwing for a ton of yards, ton of touchdowns to these crazy wide receivers. I mean, their wide receiver core is insane. But in big spots, he'd get a little shaky, start missing high, start missing low on big drives, and they would not go and convert points on crunch time situations in the games they lost or barely won.
Yep.
So now
that Oregon game, man, as good as Oregon played them, if Stroud was just on for 2 throws, he was off a lot of throws that game. If there was just 2 throws that he hit, they win that game. And they played awful that game. And Oregon played the best game I've seen them play since Mariota was there. I mean, that was big time. So yeah, you're right.
So now they've played a bunch of basically cupcakes, like Toledo's been playing like Rutgers, the bottom of the Big Ten. These next 3 or the next 5 weeks, they've got Penn State, Michigan. That's going to be their season right there. And we're going to see how Stroud plays through all that because I want to see Stroud under some pressure again. And I'm really, really excited to watch that because I think it's going to be whether they get in or not, that's what it's going to be on. And again, it's going to be hard because I don't know if they're going to put them in based on losing to Oregon. It's going to be real weird to go with these 1-loss teams. This is the year that the 12 team really needed to be in, and they're not going to have it in because I'll give you this curveball. They've never left off an undefeated Power 5 team, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if there's a bunch of 1-loss teams and Wake Forest goes undefeated in the ACC?
Oh, God. Oh, God. That's a fascinating. So let me first hit on Ohio State here, okay? Because like you said, what you said is fascinating because if Oregon loses again, look, if Oregon runs the table, then that's a really good loss by Ohio State. You know how they always have these, it's a good loss. You have that when you're talking about stuff like that. It's early in the year. If Oregon, I don't care how ugly it looks, if they run the table and they only have 1 loss, and that's a good loss by Ohio State. So if Ohio State beats Michigan State, Penn State, wins the Big Ten, I don't see how you can leave them out because all of those teams are ranked. 2 of them are undefeated. All of them are in the top 10. That's 3 top 10 wins. I just don't see how you could let them out. And I honestly think, and this would be a crazy uproar to get to your Wake Forest point, I think they would put in a 1-loss Ohio State over an undefeated Wake Forest. And that would kill the ACC. I mean, the people would rage because they're literally telling you, we care about Ohio State and the Big Ten more than we care about your Wake Forest.
But I mean, if you're going to eye test it, you got to do it. Like eye test wise, the ACC is just down this year in general. Like without Clemson, Clemson has their own set of issues that I don't know. Maybe we can talk about a little bit. I mean, my God, sorry.
No, you're good.
On offense, they're just bad. Yeah. I mean, losing Trevor and Travis back there, like Etienne and Lawrence, like that. I mean, I knew they were good. I didn't know they were that good.
Yeah, I knew Trevor was that. You knew that too. Trevor was that good, but Etienne, I think, is the biggest issue because, man, I just don't get it. Like and again, we can get into this some other time, but like, dude, DJ looked awesome in the 2 games he played last year. Like, I don't know if the pressure is getting to him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that he doesn't have Etienne. Their O-line sucks, and this is the issue, man. This is for all you college basketball fans out there. Dabo Swinney is officially in a huge career moment like Coach K was in Duke basketball. Coach K, for a couple years, decided that he's not going to go after those one-and-done freshmen. And Duke was bad. Duke was losing 4 or 5 games a year, and Kentucky was making the Final Four every year. Kansas, all these schools that were going after the one-and-dones, and Coach K finally said, screw it. I'm putting my principles aside, and I am going after one-and-dones. And they got right back to the title form after that. Dabo doesn't do transfer portal. Dabo is the one coach that does not do the transfer portal. And I don't get why. He's all this, I believe in my players. I don't want to go out. Like, Dabo has to decide right now that he is going to nix that and go after the transfer portal. Otherwise, man, they might stay in this slump for a little while.
Oh, yeah. And Dabo also is very, very picky about who he recruits. I don't know. Their recruiting classes aren't like some top 3, 4 recruiting class every year. They're more like 8 to 9 usually. Yeah. And they're very picky about which 5 stars they bring in, which 4 stars they bring in, and they bring in a decent amount of 3 stars and just develop them. They brought in Shipley. Yeah, they brought in Shipley. Shipley's a baller. I mean, he hasn't really got his opportunity. He's not Travis Etienne by any means right now. No. But here's the thing Here's the thing that I've called on about that. Their offense is archaic, even for college right now. And like I said, I knew Trevor was a great prospect. I'm so happy he's on the Jags. But I was with you. I honestly thought DJ was going to end up being probably the number 1 pick, not this year, but next year. Coming up draft, but the year after when he was eligible.
Same.
What I've noticed, and this is what it is, Clemson's offense now with just Tony Elliott calling is so much run and catch, like run after the catch. It's a bunch of yak. And what I didn't even notice is with Trevor as a prospect, and now I see it in the NFL all the time, he rarely ever doesn't lead his ball perfectly to keep you running. Like he doesn't miss throws behind or like even right on target. He leads them perfectly into the hands to keep running every time. And that's what Clemson's offense was. And DJ just doesn't have the accuracy to do that right now.
It's hard. It's not even, dude, that's hard for a call.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. Trevor was different, man. It's hard to have anyone try and lead that type of offense like that.
But yeah, they're sending like Justin Ross and them on a bunch of like quick slants and like little goes and step back screens. DJ's got to have DJ when he was successful last year, he was throwing it deeper. He needs to throw deep. He's got to be a deep play passing guy because he doesn't have the accuracy. He's got to be a big play quarterback. And
he has the arm to be a big play quarterback.
Yeah, so that's like a little technical stuff on how the offense is. They've definitely gone away. I know they had their offensive coordinator from Trevor's rookie year went, I think, to USF, I believe. Yeah. And once he left, really you could see Elliott's grip on the offense where it's mostly RPO game. And he's got to start putting in some deep passes and bringing that back a little bit, or else that offense is just not – it's not going to attract Arch Manning either, which is another thing. That's why LSU fired their coach. I fully believe it. Yeah. They really want Arch Manning, and that job's going to be the pinnacle of jobs. But I know we went off on a tangent instead of the 4 playoff thing, but –
but it's fascinating to me. I'm telling you, it just goes back to, and if this is the type of stuff that me and you love I get it. People love the football and all that stuff. I love
Patrick.
to go deeper into it, man. And I am going to be watching, Dabo like a hawk this offseason. Dude, the reason why Michigan State is so good, Mel Tucker doesn't have his players in there. It's Kenneth Walker is the best running back in college football right now other than Bijan Robinson, and he's a transfer portal guy. Dabo, the Elliott thing, like you said, he's got to change or he's got to bring in a new OC, and he's got to hit the transfer portal, man. They have no depth. 3 offensive linemen went down. Their O-line sucks. They have Will Shipley went down. Their backups. They don't have depth because they don't hit the transfer portal. Dabo this summer is going to be in a critical spot of his career.
I mean, they lost people out of the transfer portal too. Like, I mean, once Shipley won that job, Linjay left. So, and then once he got hurt, they have back.
It's an issue, man. Like again, Saban was in it too. And then he brought in Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin made that offense not so boring anymore. Like it's these spots these great coaches get into, man. How do they adapt? I believe Dabo will eventually adapt because he's a good coach, but he's thick-headed, man. And he like you said, he likes to do things his way in a certain way. It will be interesting. All right, go. Give me your 4.
Yep. So Georgia, Bama, they're going to make it in. I believe.
Okay, so Bama's number 2 for you?
No, not 2. They're going to be they're going to be number 3.
Gotcha.
Right. But 2 right now, I'd put Oklahoma as well. Caleb is the real deal. Caleb Williams is going to be legit.
He's amazing.
And I was high on Rattler. You were not. I was very high on Rattler. I loved his arm talent. I thought Lincoln was going to make him be a Kyler Murray-esque type player just from the arm talent, the receivers around him, the offense they run. But he was not that guy. Like week in and week out, I was just
mentally. He's got issues mentally, man. There's something.
I was just shocked at how bad he played. But now that Caleb's in, I think they're going to get rolling on offense again. And then
they already are.
Finally, you have Ohio State. I got to see Stroud play before I can put him in. So I've got to go with Cincinnati, and I'm not really sold on them either. So I mean, Cincinnati's going to get waxed if they play Georgia. Yeah. Honestly, and I don't buy Georgia's offense. That's a whole nother topic. I don't buy Georgia's offense at all.
No. Well, that's a whole nother topic, and that's something else we can get into. But look, the reason I have Bama out right now of my playoff, and it's because I think that Bama has legit holes. Now, I'm not standing up here saying that they're for sure not going to make it. I would not be shocked 1 second if they make the playoff. There's something about this Bama team that rubs me the wrong way, and I honestly think that if they meet Georgia in the SEC championship, I think Kirby's finally going to get them this time, and I think they will beat Alabama. I will not be shocked if I'm sitting here 2 months from now saying I'm an idiot and Bama rolled them by 30 points, but I fully believe that if they have 2 losses, they're not in. That's why I think it's going to be Georgia, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, Ohio State.
Yeah, that's a good thing fundamentally for us to go by because I just fundamentally do not buy Kirby Smart as a coach. Recruiting wise, he kills it. Defense, that offense, he never has offense, and he never picks the right quarterback.
That's why.
I mean, is JT Daniels going to play? Like,
dude, the fact that they think Stetson Bennett is not going to beat Bama. I don't even know if JT can, but at least JT has potential, dude. At least JT has an arm. JT Daniels can throw the football. Like this fact that they're rolling because Stetson Bennett has beaten these whack teams in the SEC. Like Kirby's got an issue with his quarterbacks. That's why Fields left. That's why Arch Manning's not going there. He has an issue with his quarterbacks.
I mean, Eason left before that. I mean, for college wise, he was the more talented player than Fromm, but Fromm just ran the offense that Kirby liked and didn't make a bunch of mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's just, I hate conservative play like that. It's why LSU would always lose to Alabama under Les Miles. They would just do a bunch of run game and defense and pound a bunch of Kentuckys and a bunch of Mississippi States and all this and that. Yep. And then all of a sudden they roll into Bama. Bama beat them by about 14, 21 points. And then everybody be like, what happened? It's like, yeah, you can't throw the ball. Like, you can't throw the ball when the defense is good over there, and they can. Like, they have just as good athletes as you. So
no doubt, man, no doubt. It'll be interesting. It sets up. This is one of the, and I said it before the season started. I thought that this is going to be the most wide open college football playoff we've seen in a long time because I thought Alabama had holes. I thought Clemson. I actually picked. I mean, I'll be full transparent. I actually picked Clemson to win it all.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah. Like you said, you were high on Spencer Rattler. I did not like him from the start. I was extremely high on DJ. I mean, I was saying DJ is going to be the best quarterback this year, even though he can't go in the draft. I thought he was going to be better than any quarterback this year. I was wrong on that. I still hope he can turn things around. So I was really high on Clemson, but I knew that every team had a little bit of holes, and that's why this year is going to be fun down the stretch, bro.
Yeah, I had Clemson, Oklahoma 1-2, and then here comes the SEC back at it again.
Like, what do you know? Here we go.
But yeah, no, yeah. So that covers that on that.
What else do you want? What else were we going to get into now? The lock.
Yeah, so I figured on the money down, since we're out here kind of naming after third down out here, the big money down in the league, wins you games, you get off the field on third down, you keep converting it. So I figured we kind of
Falcons fan, I see that way too damn much.
Oh man, yeah, I know the feeling, but so I figured what we do is for college on our Thursday show, and then for the NFL on our Friday show, we do third and short, third and long. So third and short, going to be kind of the lock kind of pick, what we really think. Third and long, we're going to have some long shot picks that 7+ points, make a pick. Maybe you put somebody on the money line that doesn't expect to be there, stuff like that.
Yep.
So you got your picks ready to go, or?
Yeah, I do. We have the same pick, right?
Yeah, on third and short, I have the same pick as you. So
look, it's gonna this what for people that's going to be watching, we're either going to start this show off really damn hot by both of us getting it, or we're both going to look like fools here. And I'll just say it. Our pick is Pittsburgh over Clemson. I'll just say mine real quick. I think Kenny Pickett, it's phenomenal, man. Last year, he could have left and he probably wouldn't have been drafted, or maybe 6th round. Like, he had a terrible year last year. He came back. He has fixed a couple of things, and he is in the Heisman conversation. No one cares or talks about Pittsburgh, so no one knows who he is, but he is a really fun quarterback to watch, and I just don't think that Clemson's offense will be able to get anywhere near Pittsburgh's offense. I know their defense is good, and I could see Clemson holding Pittsburgh down for a quarter or two, but I think eventually Pittsburgh offense will get going, and Clemson won't be able to answer.
Yeah, I think if Pickett doesn't try to play hero ball and just make a bunch of turnovers, I think they win outright. I'd put them on the money line. I really, really think they win this game. And I mean, if you want to take the points, then plus the 3 is good to go as well. But I can't see Clemson rising up and just finding an offense all of a sudden on Pittsburgh. No. I feel like that's going to have to be against a much lesser team. Yeah. So that was my lock. We were looking at the lines. The lines are a little shaky this week. I mean, It's not like a hype week for college football, to be honest. Like, just game wise, we'll be watching several of them. No. But
there is the other one that I have that it's hard to call a lock, but I actually think it's weird. Vegas has this team favorite, which I don't understand why, and they have them favored by a lot, and that's Iowa State by 7.
I saw that too.
Undefeated Oklahoma State team. And I actually would take Iowa State there. Listen, sounds crazy, but why in the hell is Iowa? Sometimes, guys, you have to just think about what Vegas is doing. Why is Iowa State favored by 7 against an undefeated team? It's telling us that Vegas doesn't respect Oklahoma State. It's in Iowa State. Iowa State is a disappointment. Myself thought that they would have a shot to be inside somewhere near the top 6. They've fallen off. I think that this is their game where they're going to try and snap back into it and show that they are actually a decent team. I actually think Iowa State might win this game big.
So you would take Iowa State with the 7? I
would, man. Now, Clemson. I mean, Pittsburgh's my pick. So.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm just saying that's another one that I'm looking at that I actually might end up playing.
No, I was thinking about that too, because I was looking at the long shots. Like I said, I was looking at 7+, and I saw that and I was shocked. I was like, I can't make that a long shot. Like, Oklahoma State's like undefeated.
They should be favored. I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me at all.
Honestly, I don't think I can take Iowa State though at 7. I think I could probably do it at 4.
It's risky. Yeah, no, they shouldn't be set. I'm telling you, it's risky. That's why I said if I do it, Be careful. That's all. Be careful.
Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna go third and long here. I mean, like I said, it's not a ton I love. Yours is a good one that I know of that's like way, way, way big point spread.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take USC with the 7.5 from Notre Dame.
I like it.
I don't think Notre Dame is all that good this year. I think they're pretty good. I think they're better than USC. I just think USC is gonna cover. So also, like we said, I think USC with Slovis back, I think that's they're going to throw a ton to Drake London, and it's going to be a higher scoring game than people might think. But you got to watch out for Notre Dame just running the ball down their throat. That's the one thing you got to worry about there. But I do think they cover. I think they cover right there. They don't lose by more than 7.5.
I honestly agree with that one. I like that one. I just don't think Notre Dame has the quarterback and the offense to blow away a team. And USC actually can put up some offense. Their problem is their defense. I like that one as well. And USC's coming off a bye. My long shot, and this is a big, big long shot. Don't see it happening, but it's a long shot, and that's Northwestern plus 23 against Michigan. Now, look, I actually think Northwestern might cover this. And when I say it's a long shot, as in like they're not going to win, like that's the long shot. But I actually think Northwestern could end up covering this. I think this is how Harbaugh's mindset's going to be. And I could be wrong on this. I think he knows Michigan's ahead. He knows his players, Michigan State's ahead. He knows his players know Michigan State's ahead. It's at Michigan State. I think he is going to try and get in and get out. And I think he's going to get in. They're going to get up early. And I think he's going to take his players out. And so they don't get injured or anything like that. And I could see Northwestern maybe scoring some points late. Their offense is atrocious. But that's my mindset. I just don't think Michigan's going to fully bring it for this game, because how can you not be focused on the biggest game of the year so far against Michigan State?
Yeah, I like that cover for sure. When you brought it up, I was thinking about myself, and I was like, I like that cover a little bit, but like I said, we're not going to go with the same ones no matter what. Like I said, the lock this week, it's kind of got to be that. It's just weird lines this week. But,
no doubt. But,
the
other long shot that I was going to maybe go with was Tennessee against Alabama, but the reason why I can't do that, I think they're like 23 points. I think it's like just like Northwestern. They're like 20 or something like that. I don't have it pulled up. Is because that last game against Ole Miss, I don't know if you watched that, dude. That was such a high-flying, nonstop game. So many players got injured. Like, both Ole Miss and Tennessee are going to be exhausted this week. It is going to be hard for them to get up after that last game, and that's why I think Alabama will probably end up blowing Tennessee out.
Yeah, and if we want to talk, Tennessee, new number one on most delusional fan bases in college football for me. I have a top 5 that I keep running that I'll bring up at some point later on, and it'll piss a lot of fan bases off, and I know I'm sorry, but I'll explain why and everything. But Tennessee's number one. Like, come on now. Y'all act like y'all are a top freaking 8 program in the country. Y'all are nowhere close. Just throwing stuff at Lane just because he left you. Come on now. Yeah. Let's get it out of here.
Joke, dude. That was so stupid. That was so dumb to see. No offense, Tennessee fans, but
yeah, no offense. It's all good.
I know
fun.
There was only a small percentage of you, but get a grip. Like, just get a grip.
It's all good. But I know personally some Tennessee fans too, and like they're every year. This year, man, it's like, dude, I know before it starts, y'all are going to lose to 2 teams that you shouldn't lose to, and definitely to the teams you should lose to. So.
No doubt. Yeah, that's how it is, and that's how it's probably going to go for a good little while now, too. I do like Josh Heupel. I do think he could do a good job.
But the offense is nice.
Yeah, they got some things that they still got to work on for sure. Good stuff, man. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a good start to the show. We're going to keep it going. Definitely, we'll do the 3 times a week, no matter what. Like I said, here's the layout. Thursday is going to be college football stuff like this. If we have any huge hot button NFL stuff, tomorrow we will be back on. We will be previewing the weekend's games for the NFL. Big show tomorrow. We'll cover that. Probably go a little bit longer tomorrow. Not too much. We're not going to go like crazy or anything, but go a little bit longer tomorrow just because we have way more to cover. And then Monday we'll react to it, where we were wrong on it, what we were seeing, everything to react. And that's what you'll get every week from us until after the football season, and we reevaluate and go to the NBA and everything.
No doubt. It was fun, man. It's going to be a blast moving forward. Everyone stay tuned. Again, follow us on Twitter at MoneyDownPod. we're gonna bring a lot of interesting takes that you guys are not gonna hear out other places, and join in the conversation, join in the fun. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right.
Let's do it, man. All right, let me